Hello everyone, William here. In my last video I said I'll be slowing down on my buying, but if you could tell from my background, I actually haven't. For this month in February at least, I've still bought a few cards, but it's still my plan going forward to slow down on my collection. And with that in mind, I was thinking of making a video series of where I talk about cards I formerly owned or some interesting things I've done in the hobby. And for this video, I'm going to be talking about the very first card I've graded, and it was with PSA. So far, I've only graded 2 cards. One was with PSA and the other with CGC. Even though I have not too many, maybe about 10 or so graded cards, I just prefer to buy them. I have the motto of you grade them, I buy them. If there's a card I want graded, I'll simply buy it if I see it for a good price. But on to the very first card I graded. And if you've ever seen this art book before, you could probably guess what it's from. Now, when I got back in the hobby in 2017, there are a few things I bought quite early on, and one of them was this Pokemon art book. And if you weren't familiar with this art book, it came with a promo card. Here you can see, I'll take it out, the plastic, to get a better look. It came with this Charizard card, which is the illustration on the cover. So it came with this promo, but at the time, I'm not sure exactly how much the card was worth, but I know that the art book was pretty cheap. Here you can see what the retail price roughly would have been, so 2,500 yen. I actually got this art book from a art shop, so I'm not sure if the price would have been cheaper simply because of that. They didn't know how much the promo might have been worth. The art book only set me back maybe about £25, and because of that I didn't think too much of the promo inside, and I simply kept it sealed in the art book for quite a few years. Until I want to say late 2020 or 2021, I was watching a video and the person was mentioning some cards and some of the prices, and one of them was the very same Charizard promo. And I actually had no idea at the time it was worth that much. And I figured, well, I never actually look at the card or care about it. Why not sell it? And that's why I had the idea of grading it. Because I had very little eBay feedback at the time, I didn't want to sell it raw. And I noticed that on the PSA population report, the card had over a 90% gem rate. And since I had it sealed in the art book for so long, I knew it had a very good chance of getting a 10. I used a middleman. The company's gone now, but I used a company called Graded Gem, which was a middleman service here in the UK. And it took, I want to say, maybe 9 months or so. I sent it off at the high service to get graded. Now, at the time, there was a shortage on, I want to say it was card savers they're called. So I actually mailed it off in a top loader. I should have a video playing of me actually trying to correctly pack the card. I was so nervous that I recorded myself trying to pack it, and just to get some practice on before I sent it off. And as I said, it took about 9 months for me to get the card back. All in all, it was a very quick process considering there's a backlog at PSA. But I imagine because I sent it off at one of the highest service levels, I got it back. And since my cost basis on the card is practically non-existent, I didn't mind paying that. The end of the story is basically me selling the card, and as I said, my eBay feedback was pretty low, so I couldn't simply put it at a buy now price and wait for an offer. I had to auction it off. I could look back, but I don't remember exactly how much it went for. it probably went for a bit cheaper than what some of the bike novels were going for, but since my cost basis on the card was, as I said, practically zero, I didn't really mind. Well, I did mind in the sense if it went for maybe half price, but it still went for a decent amount. And most of that money I just put back into the hobby, so I think that card's gone up now, but I don't regret selling it since I use the funds for other cards I was more interested in. And that's basically the story of the very first card I graded. Now this art book I think had a bit of a rub off due to the expensive promo inside. So I wish I had some advice on if you're interested in this art book. But there are several other art books out there that you could buy which are probably much cheaper and are still of good quality with the illustrations and so forth inside. So if you can't find this art book at a good price, I would simply maybe look at some pictures online and buy some of the other Pokemon art books instead. Now I'm not sure on when I'll make another one of these story time videos. I might maybe do CGC for the next one, or I might talk about when I went to Pokemon Worlds, who knows. But in the next video, I might probably talk about some of the Battle Partners cards I got. But I'll see you in time. That's the end of the video, and thanks for watching.